Holy in your first 70.3. Okay, now relax. You're already doing the hard part, the training. You're putting in the efforts day in and day out. You're consistent. You're going to do great. Race day is just going to be a celebration and a showcase of everything you're putting in now. So, what else can you be doing right now to get ready for race day? I would start with making a packing list. So this is going to be a checklist of everything you want to make sure you take with you for race day, especially if you're flying. So if you make the race list now, as you think of things over the next few weeks, you can add to that list. Whereas if you wait last minute, you're sure to miss things, and then you're going to be scrambling at the race site to find things you might have missed. So start working on that list now. Now let's jump ahead to pre-race. How early should you get there? This is really up to you. Everybody's a little bit different as far as what makes them comfortable. Some people can show up last minute, right before check-in, and be totally fine. Other people, that would make them very anxious to get there and just have to bust out everything very quickly before the race. So things to think about: do you want to get there early enough to bike the bike course? As someone who's doing a first time 70.3, you don't want to be biking an entire 56-mile bike course, especially if it's difficult and hilly, within 3 to 4, even 5 days out from the race. If you want to get there a week ahead of time and have that be your last long ride, I wouldn't do it any closer to race day than a week out. If you don't have the options to get there a week ahead of time, and you want to get there maybe 4 or 5 days ahead of time, that works too. You can bike portions of the course. Figure out where is it safe to go ride. If you have somebody that can drop you off and pick you up, that works well. Or if not, just biking a little bit out from the venue itself, where you would be coming out of T1 just to familiarize yourself with that part of the course. Just long enough to get out, maybe 10 miles, come back 10 miles and see that first part of the course. Otherwise, just drive the course. If you feel like you need to see the whole course, you want to see where you're going to be hitting specific hills, how big do they look, where are there any sharp turns, any intersections you need to be aware of. Biking the course is always a good idea, and it just helps kind of ease some anxiety about what to expect. And oftentimes you can kind of see on the map and the athlete guide ahead of time where the aid stations are going to be, and then you can pick those out as you bike the course and find, okay, this is exactly where aid station 1, aid station 2 will be, so you can prepare as you're then biking in the race for when that's going to come up, so you can get yourself ready, whether that's finishing a bottle that you can dispose of, taking in a gel that you can dispose of the wrapper, and time that well. As far as training versus resting the week of race. So at this point in time, all the work is done, so to speak. You're not going to gain any fitness the week of the race that's going to contribute to the race. The only thing you're going to do by overtraining the week of the race is add unnecessary stress to your body that's going to hurt you on race day. So the goal of race week is to rest as much as possible. Some activity is great. You want to keep moving a little bit. You'll see workouts in your training plan. It's really just to keep you active, more mental than anything. Physically, you don't need it for the week, but it's going to help get out that nervous energy. It's going to keep the legs fresh. As you taper into race, you want to shed the fatigue, but keep the snappiness and just the fresh feeling. Even 7, 6, 5, 4 days even out from the race, you may not feel totally fresh yet. You're still tapering. You're still shedding that fatigue, and that's okay. Just listen to your body and be mindful of that, and know that you don't want to do too much. So don't be on your feet too much. Don't go to the venue every day and spend hours there walking around and checking out Ironman Village and all of these things. Or if you're in a town where there's things to go see and shopping and restaurants and all this, that's great, but keep it minimal. Don't go walking around the city for hours. You really want to try to stay off your feet as much as you can. So try not to be influenced by all the people that are going to be there. You're going to come across, a couple thousand other people, and some are coached, some are not, some are going rogue and going crazy with last minute training and anxiety training. Don't feed into that. Stick with your plan. You've already done your training. You'll see people out there swimming the entire course if it's accessible. You'll see people biking the whole course. You'll see people running midday in the heat. Avoid all of that. Don't feel like because you see other people doing it, it's something you should be doing. Be smart. So don't let the stress and the anxiety that you'll see and feel around you enter you. Leave that out there. So the day before the race, you will have bike check-in. This is where you'll go and drop your bike off in transition. Just your bike. You're not setting up anything else on your bike. You don't have to leave your nutrition on your bike. You don't have to leave your bike computer. In fact, you don't want to leave any of that stuff. It will get stolen, or it could get stolen. And you don't want to leave your nutrition out potentially in the heat, just sitting there. So save all that for race morning when you get there and set up your stuff. But what I'll say about bike drop off. Everybody is there within a couple hour window. So you're going to see a lot of people. You're going to see a huge transition area that you've potentially never seen one this big before. It can feel very overwhelming. You're going to feel your heart rate go up. You're not nervous. You're excited. This is your brain's way of telling you that this means something to you. When you're feeling these feelings, that's excitement, okay? Don't mistake your heart rate going up for nervousness and anxiety. It's a natural reaction to feel like because our heart rate's going up and our breathing's getting faster, that we're anxious. It doesn't necessarily mean that. Excitement does the same thing to us. So even if you want to think you're feeling anxious, just trick yourself. Just tell yourself, I am so excited. This is amazing. And I'm finally here. So soak it up, take it all in. I mean, this is your first 70.3. The first bike check-in is one you will potentially never forget. Just it's an incredible feeling. So that aside, find your place, set your bike up, and take the time to do a walkthrough. So on race day, you don't want it to be your first time to figure out, where am I coming out of this swim? How am I getting into transition? And where's my bike? And where's bike exit? So do your walkthrough today while your mind is open, your mind is fresh. Go to where the swim exit is going to be. Usually by now, they'll have gates set up and you'll have an idea of where you'll be running. So go to the swim exit, walk the path to T1, and walk exactly where you want to go on race day to find your bike. Find some visuals that are going to help key you in on race day, because everything's going to go out the window. You're going to get to T1 and it's not panic, but it's like just the race excitement is going to make you totally forget where your bike is. So one, remember your number, remember your bib number, and then if there's rows, if there's 4 or 5 rows, and you're going to go in one direction to get to your specific row, count the rows. Do they have a trash can set up at the end of your row and know, okay, I'm turning right after the trash can? Or is there a tree? Something that's going to be a visual cue to you to know where you're turning and potentially how far down your bike is. So look around. What is exactly to the side of transition that you can use as a visual cue that if I've gone past that tree, I know I've gone too far. And then from your spot in transition, walk to the bike out. And walk the exact path you're going to want to take on race day. Just get it instilled in your brain the day before. You can do it again race morning if you have time, just to check and make sure that you still remember the path. But that walkthrough is very important. Now, speaking of all of these people, I think one of the things that makes people feel a little bit anxious about seeing all these people is that we tend to think of them as competitors. They're not our enemies, and they're not your competitors. The only person you're competing with is yourself. So these are your friends. These are people out there all with the same goal as you. Everybody's putting in a lot of hard work, and everybody wants to have the best day possible. So nobody's out to get you. Nobody's out to make your day harder than it needs to be. Everybody's there for each other and for themselves. So just keep that in mind. Now, I want to take a little bit of a step back because we're going to talk about nutrition. So starting 2, maybe even 3 days before your race, start cutting out fiber. Fiber is the thing that gives us problems in our gut, makes us have to poop more. It's bulk forming, and it makes things travel a lot quicker when we're running, that all of a sudden we you have to stop and have to go to the bathroom. So eliminating that fiber about 2 to 3 days out, make sure that gets through your system, and then have the focus be heavily on carbs and some protein. So 2 nights before the race is going to be your last big dinner. 2 nights before. This is your carb load meal. So no salad, no veggies, okay? This is pasta, rice, spaghetti, a large focus on the carbohydrate, and then whatever your protein of choice is, whether it's going to be chicken. I recommend chicken or fish. Red meat's a little heavy. I would avoid that. But chicken and fish are usually a pretty good go-to. If you are going to eat fish, just be careful. Make sure it's fresh and you know where you're getting it from so that you don't get sick. But chicken's a pretty safe choice too. And then the morning before the race, have a big breakfast. I love a big pancake breakfast. I'll have a huge stack of pancakes, maybe some eggs, a little, protein to go with it is fine. And then the rest of that day, so this is the day before the race, I'm really just snacking. I don't really want any big heavy meals anymore that day that are going to still be sitting in my stomach the next day for the race. So the day before, I'm snacking all day, whether it's leftovers from what I had the night before, rice, pasta, a little bit of protein's fine, some chicken, leftover fish, but pretzels, chips. I'm hydrating well. I'm drinking fluids with electrolytes all day. And then that night, just a light dinner, again, still kind of in snack form, where maybe it's some more of that leftover pasta or rice. A little bit of protein can't hurt. I would avoid dairy, even if you're somebody who tends to do well with dairy. I would just avoid it just in case. A lot of people don't do well with dairy, so it's just kind of safe to eliminate it. It can be inflammatory, so. All right, so nutrition on race mornings. Follow your plan. You're going to want to get up and have what you've been practicing with. Don't change things now, but do get in something a couple hours ahead of time, whether that's toast with a little bit of peanut butter, or a bagel with a little bit of peanut butter, something solid, but carbohydrates is going to be the focus. You can start sipping on some sports drink, keep hydrated, and moving into just before the race, continue sipping on that sports drink, even when you're waiting in line for the swim start. You can have a disposable bottle, keep drinking on the sports drink up until the last minute, dump the bottle or whatever, and have whatever last minute gel or chew or nutrition of choice that you want to take in about 15 to 20 minutes before you're getting into the water. All right, so moving on to race day. Um, Again, you're going to want to get there early enough to not feel rushed, set up your transition area, make sure you have all the things you need, and it's lined up in the order that you want it. So for 70.3s, you're going to be setting everything up in transition. So, don't put your running stuff on the front of your towel and your bike stuff in the back. Have it in proper order. So that way when you come out of the swim, your bike stuff is the next stuff that you're going to be going to. And when you come back off the bike, then you go to the running stuff. So just have some sort of order that makes sense to you. Set up in transition, maybe another disposable bottle of your preferred sports drink and a gel. And I'll get to that. Let's talk about the swim. So usually they start having people line up in the swim corral about half an hour before a race start. So depending on where you're seating yourself, you may be hanging out in the swim corral for a very long time. If you're in the further back in the corral, you might be hanging out for an hour before you get into the water. So keep that in mind as far as having nutrition handy. Don't get into the water hungry, but also don't get into the water feeling stuffed. So just keep sipping your fluid. Maybe your waffle or whatever you kind of like to chew on, that's nutrition, that's a little bit more solid. You can get that into your stomach. So speaking of waiting in the swim corral, you've potentially got your wetsuit on or your swim skin, depending on the swim and if it's wetsuit legal or not. You've been hydrating well and now you have to pee. Just do it. So mornings are often chilly at race starts, and what better way to keep yourself warm than fill your wetsuit with your own pee? It sounds gross, but trust me, everybody does it. If you're walking along on dry ground and all of a sudden there's a random puddle out of nowhere where it shouldn't be, guess what? People have peed and you're walking through it. Just get over it. It's no big deal. You're getting ready to get into whatever body of water and it's all going to get rinsed away. So just pee. You're going to get closer to the start. You're going to start hearing the beeps that are sending people off every 3 seconds. The nerves are going to kick in. Again, you're going to have to pee. Pee again. Get it all out as much as possible before the race start. What else? So about 15, 20 minutes before it looks like you're getting ready to get into the water, go ahead and take your last gel or chew or whatever it is that you'd like to take in, because you're going to spend however long you're getting ready to swim in the water without taking in any nutrition. So as far as starting the swim, be mindful to not go out too hard. You're going to see people take off and it's just going to feel natural to want to stick with them. And ultimately, it's going to make you go harder than you want to go. Your heart rate's going to spike. It's going to be hard to catch your breath. And it's just not going to be a good start to the swim. So just remind yourself as you enter the water, this is my swim. I'm going to race my race. And you just happened to be going out for a nice, fun, easy swim with all these people that have also happened to gather there. Just keep it nice and chill in your brain. Start really smooth. Just think about form or counting or whatever tends to settle you in the water. Start off with no kicking until you get your breathing under control. Once you feel good and warmed up, then you can start adding in the kicking. But until you feel like you're in a good place, you've settled in, the breathing is under control, the heart rate's not spiked, just keep it nice and easy. All right, so now swim is done. You're coming out and you've potentially spent up to an hour in a horizontal position, and suddenly you're coming up out of the water, you're vertical, all of the blood rushes down from the top of your body and it's pooling in your feet. So your blood pressure can drop a little bit, your heart rate can spike a little bit. So just take it easy. Come up out of the water, as slowly as you need to get your bearings. And we want to avoid the heart rate spike by potentially not just like jetting out of the water and sprinting to T1. After you get your bearings, just take a couple steps, start walking at first, and then you get into a jog once you feel like you've got your feet and everything feels okay. You're not dizzy, you're not lightheaded. So as soon as you're able to, start peeling off the top of your wetsuit or swim skin as soon as possible. That's your first thing. Sometimes people forget to do that part first, and you're taking off your swim cap and your goggles first, and now your hands are full and you're trying to take your wetsuit off, and it's a lot more difficult. So wetsuit first, strip off the top part. If they have wetsuit strippers at this race, I would use them. They're really good at their job. So if you're running by and they're right there and it's not out of the way and they have people available, just stop and have them strip your wetsuit for you real quick. All you have to do is lay down real quick. They'll usually have like a turf area set up or some kind of mat that you can lay down on. Just lay back, lift your legs. They'll do the rest. It's going to be a lot quicker than you're going to be able to take your wetsuit off. And then they'll hand it to you. You grab it. You continue running into T1, and then you can take off your goggles and caps. And then find your way to T1 where your bike is, and then back to when I mentioned having a bottle of sports drink or a gel. This is where, okay, so you've just done a lot of swimming, you're a little bit depleted, so you want to restore the tank a little bit and spend a couple seconds in transition, take a quick big chug of sports drink, take in a gel, because you may spend the first 10 to 15 minutes on the bike not really being able to take much in. It's pretty common. Your heart rate's a little bit elevated as you take off on the bike, or your stomach might be upset from taking in water on the swim. It may have been an ocean swim. You've got salt water. You're feeling sick. So the quick minute in transition to just take in what you can might be your only way of getting in something for the first maybe even half an hour, depending on how you feel. So now you're off on the bike. People have a tendency to go out too hot. So you're feeling good, you're excited, you're finally, safe from the water, the race is on. No, cool your jets, ease in, let your heart rate settle down. You've got your plan, you know where your heart rate should be, you know where your power should be. Stick to that. It's going to feel, hopefully it should feel nice and easy, and you're going to want to go harder. That's exactly how it should feel. So a couple tidbits on the bike. Let's talk about peeing. It's your first 70.3. Most people say it's your first race. The goal is just to finish. What's the point of peeing on the bike? You're not going to win the race. Why do it? Why not just take the extra minutes to stop? Either way is fine. If you're comfortable peeing while biking, go for it. And it's not because we're trying to win the race. The reason I say go for it is because if you stop, there's maybe one or two porta potties at the aid station. There could be a line. Now you're waiting. So it's not just a loss of a couple minutes. You're potentially losing 10 minutes because you're waiting in line. The other thing is taking off and putting back on your race suit is really difficult if you're still wet, or even once it gets sweaty. It's so hard to get that back on. So the third reason is the loss of momentum. So you might find yourself in a groove, you're hitting your numbers, you're feeling amazing, and then you stop and you go to the bathroom and you're potentially waiting. Now you've kind of cooled down, you're not in the zone, and it can be really hard to find that again. So that loss of momentum isn't just the loss of the 10 minutes of physically stopping and going to the bathroom, but that loss of momentum takes time out too. And now getting going, your legs might feel a little bit heavier than they did before. So if at all possible, go ahead and pee on the bike. it can be really hard to try to do it for the first time, especially on a flat course. So if you have a hillier course, or at least a rolling hill, my advice is to make the attempt on a downhill. So an area where you can coast, because if you can pause the pedaling and tension in the legs, you can kind of give a little bit more focus to trying to pee. It also can give you a chance to maybe just stand up out of the saddle. That can help at least get it going. Once you get the stream going, it's a little bit easier. So give it a go. And then know where the aid stations are. You can attempt to pee before you get there. And if it ends up not being successful, then you can make your stop. If you are successful, then grab a bottle of water on the go, slow down through and be safe through the aid stations. It can be chaotic and people are kind of weaving in and out and crashes can happen. So just be safe through the aid stations. But then you can grab a bottle of water and just squirt yourself down. Okay, so some other things on the bike. I already mentioned basically not going out too hard, but the entire time don't overbike. Follow your numbers, follow your plan. Always remind yourself when you think you want to go harder, I still have a half marathon to run after this. Let's talk about slipstreaming. So yes, we are not allowed to draft. So for pros, what that means is when they get within a certain distance of the bike in front of them, they actually have to slip out to the side and then proceed to pass. For age groupers, we're allowed to slipstream. And what that means is when you're coming up on somebody, you can get all the way up to right behind them before you get out to the side and make your pass. So take advantage of that. As somebody who may come out of the water at the back, but then you're a stronger biker, you're going to find yourself passing people the entire bike course, which is actually awesome because now you get to slipstream a lot. So this is legally taking advantage of a draft. Now don't sit there in that draft. That's illegal. But come up on them as long as you can. Let them know that you're making the pass on the left. Always announce yourself with passing people, just for safety purposes and to not scare them and just so that they don't happen to be veering in that direction at the same time as you. The other thing is when you're making passes, always look, because there may actually be somebody who at the same time is trying to pass you and not announcing themselves, and then you go to make your pass and now you're biking into them, and it's not your fault. They didn't announce themselves, but just look and be safe. All right, so that's it with the bike. When you get to T2, if you've done it correctly and you've stayed within your zones, you should still feel good. So you've racked your bike, changed into your running shoes and grabbed your bib and race belt and you take off. Again, this is another spot where people are going to go out too hot. Because again, you should feel good, but take it nice and easy. That first mile, just like we do in training, ease in that first mile. Let your body warm up and get used to the change in what it's doing, going from biking to running. Give the muscles a chance to just kind of like regroup and figure out what they're doing. So make your goal to nail the nutrition. Hopefully your stomach still feels good after the bike, and hit every aid station. So whether you're using on-course nutrition or not, use something from every aid station. Take a couple seconds to slow down or even walk a couple seconds through each aid station. Just enough is going to bring your heart rate down. It's going to bring your breathing down. It's going to be a reset. And it's usually about every mile that we get an aid station in Ironman branded races anyway. So just use it as a reset. And then only think mile to mile. You just have to get to that next mile, and then you get that little bit of a break. Whether you're grabbing ice chips or you're dumping water on yourself, if it's a hot race, you want to use all of the cooling methods possible. So ice in the hat, dumping water, keeping a couple cubes to rub in your hands, keeping your hands cool is a really, really good cooling mechanism. An ice cube in the mouth, that kind of thing. And then take your gels, time them as you're supposed to per your plan. And all of a sudden, mile by mile goes by, you're going to get to a point, and I would say it's usually around the 10-mile mark, where you realize you've only got a 5K left, and then you're like, I'm doing this. Like, I am actually going to do this. Sometimes you get to a point where you start to hear the race announcer, you can hear the cheering at the finish line, and it's time to get excited and go for it. I mean, so about 5K left, whatever you've got left in the tank, this is your time to put it all out there. So go ahead, go hard. When you get to the finish line, soak it up. If you have the opportunity to walk the red carpet, go for it. Give people high fives. Just take it all in, what you've just done. The months and months that you've put into this, and that moment is finally there. So let it last as long as possible. It's going to be an amazing experience. Thank the volunteers whenever you can, before the race, during the race. Thank them all. They're amazing people. There is nothing like the volunteers at a race. And they're just out there to do anything they can for you. So, a couple other tidbits, just to kind of get through the race day. Encourage the other racers. Like I said before, everybody else is out there just trying to have the best day they can. And what I find is when I talk to other people, whether it's like passing them on the bike, just giving them a quick word of encouragement, hey, good job, keep it up, you look great, or on the run. Sometimes we find people that we're just running the same pace with, and you're just kind of suffering in it together, and it can be nice to just chat a little bit. It takes your mind off of the suffering that you're going through and helps pass the time. And encouraging other people gives you a little bit of a boost, and I feel like it helps actually push me to do better. So yeah, include other people in your race. Don't forget about your support. So, and this goes back to pre-race, before you even start your race day, thank your support. You've gotten where you are because you have a great support system. They have done any number of things to help you get where you are, because the hours you've had to put into training, and meanwhile, that other person is probably picking up a little bit more of the housework or the cooking or the shopping or the taking care of the kids, whatever it might be that they're picking up a little bit extra of to let you do this thing. Make sure they know that it's appreciated, that you're aware of what they put in to make it happen. Just give back some of that love and support. On race day, they are excited for you. They can't wait to see you do this thing that they've helped you get there for. So include them in your race day. They want to help. Let them carry things. Just whatever you may need help with, feel free to include them. Don't feel like you're on your own. You haven't been on your own this entire time, and race day is no different. So let them help you. Lastly, this is your first 70.3, and you only get that one time. Soak it up. Enjoy it. Try to take a moment on each leg of the race. Find one moment in the swim, one moment on the bike, and one moment on the run where you can just kind of remove yourself from what you're doing and take notice of what you're doing, and just be proud of it and be happy and be so excited. Like, I'm out here doing the thing that I've worked so hard and I've dreamed of, and I'm here, and it's almost like finding like a flow state for a moment where you don't feel what you're going through and you're just loving the moment that you're in. If you can at least find that 3 times, ideally one in each leg, you're going to be so happy to have found it because you will not forget those moments. So go enjoy. Keep up the training for now. You're almost there. And let's go have a good race.